Good morning, guys. I'm sorry that I'm missing you today, and I am hopeful that you will be able to get some things done in the meantime. We'll finish up presentations tomorrow, but I wanted to give you a heads up on our next bit of content. So as we head into today with the sub, you'll have some time to do your daily writing, and that is in classroom in our week of 1013. Also note that you can begin reading section 3. Please refer to the slides in your resources section of Classroom for the essential questions and literary techniques to keep an eye out for. Heads up, they are the same as you've been looking for additionally. So the other piece we want to look at is starting to build a line of reasoning. So if you would be so kind, you can open up a doc or you can take notes on paper, whatever works for you. So as we have worked with thesis statements and evidence and commentary, we've started to put together the puzzle pieces of a strong piece of writing. Now we want to look at the thing that holds it together, the line of reasoning. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview. If you have had Overton with AP Lang, then you've no doubt heard this term before, so hopefully this is a bit of a refresher. If this is new for you, I don't want you to worry because it is absolutely something that you're used to. It just may be that it is a different term that we are using. So we are looking at crafting a line of reasoning, and your guiding question for these notes is, what is a line of reasoning and how do I create a strong one? So a line of reasoning is best defined as the range of claims and evidence that lead to a conclusion. It is the cohesion of these elements that should be working together. In other words, when you do a piece of writing, you want your thesis, which is your claim, that holds everything together. All of your evidence needs to be connective to that claim. This is something that you guys know, and you do that through your commentary. The line of reasoning, however, connects all of these different pieces of evidence to each other, much like a piece of wire and electrical cord connects a string of Christmas lights on a tree or on the roof of a house. So our line of reasoning and what we're doing here is really trying to build that sequence of evidence so that everything holds together to make something really beautiful. So your first steps here are really to figure out what your thesis and main argument are, to figure out what your evidence is, and then to figure out how everything works together to make your essay understandable. So we put together all the puzzle pieces over the last quarter. Now we're looking at really how to connect it in a cohesive, logical way. So after you've completed your thesis statement and found your evidence and commentary, your job is to figure out how you organize these things together. In other words, what are the subclaims or subsequent ideas that help build your thesis? So you're looking for specific evidence, so you're going back to things like device charts and annotations. You're looking for close reads of the evidence that specifically connect back to the deeper meaning in your thesis. That's where our evidence triangle comes in, where you get into a systematic discussion of how this particular quote supports this particular thesis statement. And you want to have multiple pieces of evidence. So where you typically might have one or two pieces of evidence in a body paragraph, you want to start to build it so that you are incorporating more pieces of evidence. So in middle school, you might have had one quotation per paragraph. Now, as an AP senior, you're incorporating 2 to 3 or more per paragraph. Your line of reasoning is the thread that holds your paragraphs together. It starts with your thesis statement. So for instance, if I'm looking at the movie Friends, I'm looking at Joey and Phoebe, and I really think they should have been together this whole time. So maybe my thesis statement is that Joey and Phoebe weren't a couple at the end of the series. The writer's dialogue and stage directions, coupled with the actor's performance, suggest that the two are actually romantically involved. There's my claim based on my reading of the Friends TV series. So typically, you want something like that. You don't want a thesis statement that breaks down, or a line of reasoning that breaks down. First, the similes in the passage are these, and then the dehumanizing imagery are these, and then the symbol is this. You want to connect and build the idea over the chronology and course of your reading. So your subclaims should introduce and grow your response as it develops. So consider that. Each of your subclaims should be a step towards proving your thesis and the sequence of your thesis across your reading. So for instance, I might structure this as looking at it by season and looking at how Joey and Phoebe's relationship has grown over time. So my first paragraph might be discussing the first season, my next paragraph might be discussing the fourth season, and then I would end maybe with the season finale, or series finale. So your job is to add to these notes by choosing a movie, TV show, graphic novel that you have an argument or thought on. If you are a Stranger Things fan or an Umbrella Academy fan, you might have a theory. Maybe you're a Walking Dead fan or a Grey's Anatomy fan. You might have a theory about a subplot in that show or book. So go ahead and grow that for me. Grab that idea and create a line of reasoning similar to how I did for Friends. It should be short. It's a quick activity. It's enough for me to start to see that you're starting to look at building subclaims across a piece of text in a sequential way and not by literary technique or something like that. You can work with someone else who watches it too, but your brainstorm should be done by the end of the period. You could do a movie as well. I had several people do Coco, Little Mermaid, name your Disney movie. It's totally up to you. My goal is that I'm watching you start to parse out what a line of reasoning might look like. It can be on a doc, it can be on a piece of paper, it can be a physical outline, or it can be a graphic organizer. So here's the prompt that you're working with. Choose one of your favorite television series, movies, books, graphic novels. Then identify a conspiracy theory or claim that you would make about this show. And please indicate what that thesis is. So for instance, if I'm doing the first season of The Umbrella Academy, my thesis might be that Hargreaves is working with the Handler to end the world because they're both aliens bent on ruling the galaxy. Now, to be fair, I haven't finished the series, so I could be way off there. In terms of how you might do this, I do have a line of reasoning here for you, and you'll see my graphic organizer with my line of reasoning developing my theory on Joey and Phoebe and Friends. So this is here, and you can absolutely use that, and I will link line of reasoning docs in this assignment as well, and you can use those if you wish. You can also do a graphic organizer or a hand turkey if you are familiar with that strategy. So you do want to make sure that you have in this graphic organizer your thesis, 3 claims. You can have one as a counterclaim should you wish. You should be able to identify evidence or portions of the story or series that help you see this developing thesis with a brief explanation. You can do this digitally or you can do this on paper, whichever brings you joy in this world. If you want to work alone, you absolutely can, and if the sub asks you to, please honor that. If they are okay with you working together, I too am okay with you doing that. And that actually takes care of the assignment for today. So you do want to make sure that you have completed your notes on the line of reasoning and your graphic organizer. Any leftover time, please begin reading section 3 of the Metamorphosis, and please refer to your slides in the resources folder to help underscore what you're looking for. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. I will be back on campus late today. I probably will miss all of you, to be frank. You can email me, and I will absolutely be back tomorrow by 6:15 on campus if you need anything. So, having said that, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you